Okay everybody, this is a quick little video here explaining everything that needs to be done on Thursday. A little bit more detail than was explained in class prior to this. First off, our target for today. I can create a realistic and balanced budget for my lifestyle. The key word here is realistic. We're trying to make this day as meaningful as possible by putting together real amounts of money that people make. Now, it's not to say that nobody could be a professional athlete, celebrity, or something along those lines, but we want to make it more of what the norm is here. Since I haven't had a special effect in quite a while, I figured I'd include one. It doesn't really go with this one as much. This was more about punishments and crime and punishment going together equally. So the point was that, we can't have any cruel and unusual punishments. There we go. But we also didn't want to have any weak punishments. You like that, Pit fans? There we go. Of course, if we had Super Wilson do this, that still might be a little bit too strong of a punishment because, he could probably knock over a tree by hitting it with a football. Okay, anyways, back on to what we actually need to talk about instead of the random special effects. Our budget activity. What are the goals of today? So we talked about making a realistic and balanced budget. That was our target. Goals here, just as we go through it to kind of get to that point, I want to make you think about how to deal with scarcity of money. Because you're going to experience one today, there's no doubt about it. And if you're realistic, you're going to recognize that you can't get everything that you want with your money. This is going to help you to see where the greatest expenses are for the average person or the average people. Not all people are the same. Some people make way more money than other people. Some people are much lower maintenance. In other words, they don't need to spend as much money. But nonetheless, you're still going to see where our typical greatest expenses lie. Next, I want to encourage you to recognize that you may have to give up some things to keep those other things that matter more. This is opportunity cost, no doubt about it. We're going to see this very, very clearly in the lesson. And lastly, I want you to get prepared for the individual budget simulation, which is going to be the next day. There are a few specific directions you need to hear related to that, so make sure that you stay focused with this so that you can follow along closely. First off, our tasks. You have to do a little bit of pricing prep work, which you should have done for homework. There's also a spreadsheet explanation video you guys can watch, and we'll talk about the one key idea being only to type in the black squares or the black cells. Inputting your predetermined data, inputting other data, making adjustments, saving your work, and reflection. So, first off, let's go here with our prep work. Your job. When we look at your job and what you put in, I gave you a listing of all kinds of jobs that you could pick. What you need to use for your budget spreadsheet is the 25th percentile income ranking for that job. It's important that you do this because as we do the simulation later on, that's going to fit in too. Next, your home price. Your home price is something else that we talked about. You can add that in there. If you wanted to rent, which is something I didn't really consider whenever I was putting this together originally, what you can do is not put anything in at all for the home price and then go to your monthly expenses and add in renting to that. If you would like to look up what the rental would cost for properties, you can theoretically do that. That wasn't really the intention I had in the beginning, but it's definitely an option that I'm assuming that some people are going to want to utilize. Next, your car. You're going to have to put in your car, and you're also going to want to have to consider your miles you're going to put on per year and also miles per gallon. You'll see that in the explanation video if you look at that. Your ideal cell phone bill, and then your vacation costs. These were all the things I wanted you to consider ahead of time. Next, onto your spreadsheet explanation. I want you guys to take note, and I'm just going to kind of go through certain things here. So first off, I put a line through it. It's alright. Take note of all the bottom tabs. So the bottom tab. So down here at the bottom of your spreadsheet, we have all these different tabs that you can click on as we go throughout. Each one has something different. Now, it's not to say you have to have anything specific on each one or any other one. It's just to say that these are all here. Now, the ones that I put an arrow to, those are all places where you can add in expenses. The last two, the budget and the pie chart, are just going to give you data based upon what you inputted. Second, the only place that you guys should be typing is in the black cells. So notice down here, we have all these different things in here. What you're going to type in is just this black cell and potentially the one below it. If you were to type anything in to this cell, or let's see, those two are the big ones, then it's really going to screw things up. And actually this one, gray here in gray, is a big one as well. If you type in any of those cells, it'll mess up all the formulas because in a lot of these cells we're using specific data. Now in reality, some of these aren't quite as up to date as they could be. For instance, interest rates right here are listed at 6%. Currently they're about 3.5%, which would save you a decent bit of money monthly on your payment. But nonetheless, it still gets across a pretty solid point, so you guys understand the key ideas with this. And also I want you to notice the budget and pie chart tabs, as I previously mentioned, which are these ones up here. Now, what do they take you to? It's going to take you to this. First off, your budget at the bottom. The big thing I want you to notice is this. What's left? And in this what's left, if it is a positive number, it's going to say, great job, you are under budget, and it'll give you this smiley face. If you are not under budget, what it will have is it'll have parentheses around the numbers. And the parentheses are indicating that it is negative, just as it does right here. See, if you look at those numbers right here, it's telling you those are your negatives because that's an expense. So something to consider, and then it'll also draw on some nice tiers there for you. There we go. The other one, which is the pie chart, it's really cool. It shows you where all of your money is being spent. So it's kind of neat to see, you know, taxes versus savings, retirement, car costs, mortgage, food, vacation, shopping, utilities, all of that. And as you can see, the really sad one that we have here is this big one in the middle, which is our taxes. Yeah, we already did the taxes. So you guys know you pay a lot in taxes. Inputting predetermined data. Let's go to that really quickly. So you're going to put, okay, my family salary is $100,000. Well, where did you get that? It has to be from this low-end salary, because that's what you're going to have starting off. Almost nobody's going to start off at the middle or at the high end. So most people are going to start off at the low end. That's what I want you to start off with for your budget. We'll pretend as if you're in your early 20s and that you're also single too. Other input data, there's one here that's a new one, grocery cost per week. There are a lot of different ways that we can figure this out. I try to give you a little bit of a help to figure out how much it's going to cost you per week. You can figure out whatever you would like. Just be realistic here again. That's the whole point, is to be realistic. Don't say that I'm going to eat ramen noodles for every meal and it's going to cost me a total of $15 per week for food, because that's pretty unrealistic. Next, with number 5, you need to make modifications. If, again, and here's our example of our parentheses around it telling you that it's a negative number. If you're in the negatives, you're going to have to make a modification. One of the big areas in which most of you guys are going to want to probably make that is your home. If your home is, let's say, more than triple the value of your income, then you're probably going to be in a pretty challenging position to make your budget balance. And even triple might be hard. So in other words, what I'm saying is, in order for you to be able to buy a $1 million home on this budget spreadsheet, you're going to have to be making over $300,000 per year. And none of the jobs actually say that early on. So, you know, consider that as you go through this. Another one where I've noticed people spend a whole lot is on their cars. If you have a $75,000 car and a $50,000 job, you have a little bit of an issue there. So make sure you look at those two first. Other ones that you can change are vacation and things of that nature too. When you're all done and you have a balanced budget, you need to save your work. Save it and then email it to yourself. I know that's not the most efficient way to do it. You could upload it to your Google Drive, just don't convert it. That's the one thing I will say. Do not convert it to the Google Docs spreadsheet format, because it screws up some stuff. So my suggestion is that you email it to yourself, and then when we come back to class tomorrow for the simulation, you guys can just open it up and go from there. Okay? And lastly, reflection or bankruptcy. In this budget assignments folder, there are a couple different options. One you can do is a reflection on the activity today, and that's great, and I'd like it if you did that. I probably prefer that one. There's also a bankruptcy one that kind of helps to explain that whole thing with athletes going bankrupt that I've talked about a few times in class. People make a lot of money and then they drop all that income. How do they go bankrupt? A lot of people say, well, why don't you just save the money? Well, it's not as easy as you may think, so that's something that you can look at in that folder. Now, if you have any questions, email me or find me on Google Chat. That's the best way to do it today if it's like a really urgent thing and your teacher's unable to help you with a specific, let's say, Microsoft Excel related concern. But nonetheless, make sure that by the end of the day you guys do have a realistic and balanced budget, and make sure that you're ready to go on Friday when we do our budget simulation. Okay? Have a good day, and I hope to hear good things back at the end of the day.